Hi everyone, welcome back to Freedomnomnom. I'm Carla Gericke and you are here in my rustic keto kitchen. I made my first episode last week. In that episode we made foraged fiddlehead and garlic mustard pesto with pine nuts and walnuts. I was sort of experimenting. I'm still experimenting, but first of all, for all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I wanted to show you this. This is my mother. This is a photo from New York City back in the 70s. That's me in the front, my sister in the middle, my mom and her cigarette and her beer, because, you know, that is the 70s. In the photo, while I was going through actual photos, and I'll show you the other ones in a little bit. But today, thank you for joining me for episode 1, formally, of Freedomnomnom. I am going to be making osombuco and some kind of stew. So because I am sensitive to tomatoes, which a lot of people I think who are figuring out what they can eat and what they can't eat are, I have reimagined this as some kind of other meaty kind of thing. So it'll be osombuco stew. We're gonna brown the meat. That's where I'm gonna start, and then we will go from there because I'm trying to be a little more organized than last time. I will show you the meat first of all. So here we have these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cuts of meat. They are from Bardo Farm. I salted them a little earlier and I brought them out so they're a little at room temp. They're maybe still a little cold, but you know, you can tell there's some good meat here. All right, and then I'm gonna be browning that in my loge, my cast iron pot. We're gonna put that on about 4, let's say. I'm going to start with the browning of the meats. Then after that, we are going to do the mise en place, which will be onions, some garlic. I have some leeks in the fridge, so I'm going to use those. I have a little bit of carrot and a little bit of celery left. So I'm going to brown the meats with salt, pepper, garlic, salt. The plate's getting hot over here. And then we will take it from there. I'm actually going to make it in the oven, the stew part. So I'm going to preheat the oven to do it like 325 to start. I'm switching off that dishwasher so you don't have to listen to the gentle hum of the dishwasher as we cook. And while I think of a few things while we're prepping and waiting for that to heat up, yes, my hair looks this bad on purpose. Actually, I had to tell myself to just do it. It doesn't matter. This beautiful t-shirt is a Ladies of Liberty t-shirt, which is a hub that'll be at PorkFest this year for people who follow along with my freedom work and my liberty work. That is taking place June 21st through the 27th up in Lancaster. It's going to sell out. But I did want to give a shout out to the cool shirt she made. And now we will, all right, so I'm going to brown that beautiful meat, probably one at a time. I'm going to make it in some lamb lard, which I rendered a couple of weeks ago. We had a weird snowstorm, as we sometimes do here in New Hampshire. You know, at the start of spring, and I just got a big cow, and I just got I got a half a cow and a whole pig, so my freezer is like full. And so I was digging through the freezer, and I found some lard from the lamb I'd bought last fall, and so I rendered that down. So this is lamb lard. It's a, you know, you can tell it's just a pure animal fat. It is, you know, you can reuse it. I actually use it. I used it to deep fry some stuff a couple of weeks ago and then put it back in the jar. So we're going to put some of that in the pot. Oh, it's actually quite hard. I forgot to take that out. You know what? Okay, that's pretty hot. So that's my lamb lard. I should have left it on the counter. So live and learn. But I also have this, and this is something I do a lot of. This is beef fat which I saved from the last time I cooked something. And I took this out earlier because I knew I was going to add it to the stew. So I'm probably going to just literally take this. Do you see that top, the actual fat part? I'm going to put that in that pan. Ooh. That's too hot. Ooh, smells good though. All right, I'll put that in the pan. I turned the stove down to 3 because clearly that was a little mighty. I'm saving this to put in when the stew starts. All right, so we got the fat going there. It's melting. It sounds dramatic. It's not all that. Keep this on 4. So I salted the meat a little earlier, but I'm actually going to salt it just a little bit more. It's really, of course, pepperoids. And for everyone who knows my cooking, you know, some people will be like, why would you even brown it if you're stewing it? But I don't know. That's why I can't make things in the slow cooker, because I just don't like it if it's not brown first. I just don't think it's... All right, so I'm going to put this one down. We're going to have to do one at a time. I only did the one side seasoning, so I will now do the other side seasoning. You know, if I'm going to keep this under 30 minutes, this is garlic powder, not salt, just powder. You know, I would ordinarily probably make a second pan, just because these aren't going to fit for the browning. So I'm going to go ahead and start that too. I'm going to do it on this one so you guys can sort of see the stove. I'm not quite sure how we're going to work that. You'll just not have to be able to see me. All right, well, you know, I said last time we're still figuring stuff out, so maybe like that. All right, so that one's browning. I'm going to actually steal some of this fat from here and put this pan on too. On the front. These are the legit steps that we will learn over time. I'm just putting some of this fat in here so that I can time my browning of the 2 pieces of meat a little better. So while that puppy's getting brown over there, that's probably not the best. I didn't sear it hard enough. My timing's a little off here. We'll figure it out. Okay, so it's not optimal pan sitch, but it's not the end of the world. We can make it work. When these guys come out, I'm just going to let them rest on here because then we make less dishes. While that's getting brown and this is getting hotter, I am going to start cutting up this stuff. As I told you guys last week, my knife skills are horrendous, but you know what? We make it work. Alright, so this is still getting hot. That's good. So I'm going to do... Oh, that doesn't look good. Onions that I've put into the compost. Let's try some of these. I have a couple more onions. I have some shallots too. I have that leek. It's all going to be fine. So we got both these plates on 4 right now. These could be pretty well just big and chunky, and I will usually save these outer sides and throw them into a plastic bag in the freezer, which I then use for stews and broths and that kind of stuff. That one's smelling pretty good over there, so I'm going to turn this again because the one side didn't get a good browning. So right now we're going to put this side down that had You can tell from the lack of sizzle that that pan probably was not hot enough either. But again, you know, if you're making a stew, sometimes a lot of people just skip this step, so I'm not going to feel too bad. You can hear the back one starting to get a little there. All right, so we're just going to let those get brown while we prep this stuff. I have a shallot that I cut yesterday from something. So as you can see, just really big, chunky onion. Do one more onion. Put this in here. As I said, I save all this stuff. I throw them in my stock. I love to use from the top, you know, as much of whatever I'm using as possible. Waste not, want not, as they say. And see if we can do this with a little, don't do that. No one needs to burn in the kitchen. All right, so it's got a nice brown on it. Again, I'm just gonna let this rest in here. I really just wanted it to get a bit of a color on there. These are huge chunks of meat, by the way. And we're going to get this one brown. I'm going to use a wooden spoon. This plate at the back is too hot now. I'm going to turn that down to 3. I'm just going to scratch off some of this brown stuff. That's where some good, yummy, nummy stuff resides. Okay, so now we got that going. Let's throw in this onion so long. There's the sizzle we want to hear. All right. Onion, some shallots. This guy seems to be in my way, so okay, we're going to turn that over. I'm going to cut the carrot. This is probably not the way you should cook, because maybe if you prepare everything before the time, it will not be this disorganized, but at least I have everything on the counter this time. All right, Miss Nellie is here, as you can see. Hey, Smells. She loves carrots. Oh, there she'll take this out. All right, so big chunks of carrots. I'm just gonna do them big whole. So you want them more or less the same size so that they cook kind of equally. So I'm gonna make the biggest pieces about the size of the little ones. So I cut the big ones. I mean, it's all relative, but all right. So I'm gonna throw that in there with the onion. I'm gonna get some chopped garlic. The cheater thing that Carla tells you should have in the house. I really actually want. Okay, so I'm doing about a big tablespoon of garlic. It's gonna go right in there as well. I'm gonna continue to move this around a little bit. And I get the celery in there next. I'm a little flummoxed with this pan right here. It's not really working for me because I would usually do it on that plate, but since you can't get that on the camera or I couldn't figure it out, it's not optimal. I'm kind of just browning the sides too while I'm here and hanging out and doing this, but I want to get this off of here. So one of the things I learned when I was looking this up, because I was like, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure this is beef. Veal ossobuco is usually veal, but you do find beef. These pieces are so big, I'm almost 100% sure they are beef. Beef ones. So apparently, ossobuco actually means the treasure in the hole or something. So it's that fat in the bone is the sweet spot. All right, this plate's going off. All right, things are looking better. We're more in where I would like to be. So now I'm going to cut the celery and the leek. So clearly I only have leftovers of stuff. It's a little browning here. I will show you that in a second. So that goes with the stock stuff. I'm actually going to use the whole pieces of celery just because I'm down the wire here. You know, cooking with Carla means whatever's in the fridge that day. I usually have the basics, but we have been traveling. We went to Lake Winnie for a few days. I had some business meetings up that way. And so I'm just dealing with whatever we have left over. With leeks, I like to also save those. I'm going to cut this outer leaf off. If you're super fancy, you can actually use these leaves and make like you can see it's very dirty, so you always want to wash your leeks, which I will do in a hot sec. But you can use these as sort of a herb poultice of some sort. I saved all of it. I'm going to take one more outer leaf off here, and then I'm going to wash this. So, see, these would be the good ones to do that sort of herb fold with. You take this and you put your herbs on the inside, like your parsley and whatever, you fold it, and then you wrap it with some twine, and then you put that in your pot, and it will make everything delicious. Now, this is just, I will let you look into the pot in a couple of seconds, but let's just get this leeks in there, and then this is not a traditional anything. This is kind of just, you know, how I cook. So it's rustic. It'll be meaty, delicious, just very basic cooking. Again, do not cut your fingers or cut anything the way I do it, because, yeah, I never learned that stuff. All right, so leeks in the pot. So currently in the pot we have carrots, leeks, red onion, we have some celery, we have some garlic. I did buy fresh garlic, but I did not cut it. So, if I'm not going to burn my fingers, and I want to show you what's happening. Yeah, give me 2 seconds here. So inside the pot just looks like that right now, right? So I'm just going to let that do its thing for a hot sec. I'm going to put some salt, some pepper. Again, because I'm not going to make this with a tomato base, ordinarily you just put like a can of crushed tomatoes in there, and also some booze, probably some white wine or red wine, depending on your cooking preference. I don't drink anymore, so I don't really cook with booze. I don't think it's a big deal. Like, there are some stews I still make with white wine or red wine. I just find I don't really like the flavor of it anymore. So, I'm just gonna make it more meaty and fatty and saucy and yummy. That's my plan. Okay, so this is ginger, that I'll put away in a second. So basically, once I feel like this is browned and kind of cooked down enough, maybe like another 3 minutes or so, then this is also part of that beef fat. I think I'm going to add a little more beef stock as well, so I'm going to go grab that from the pantry and switch on the kettle. Here in my keto kitchen, we use filtered water. I don't think anyone should really be drinking water that the government says you should put you know, industrial waste in our water, and then if everyone gets a little bit of fluoride, we'll all be good. I'm not convinced. So to the extent that I can control what's going into my own body, I like to, I don't know, have water that doesn't have fluoride in it. We get it delivered once a month. It's something we budget for. These are choices you make in life. That's a choice I make, is I try and buy the best I can afford, the healthiest, the closest to the earth, the most local I can find. So we're going to put that kettle on. I'm going to grab some more beef stock. So this is broth base and seasoning. It's not my favorite, I'm not gonna lie. I prefer to just do what I have, what I've made, right? But I don't think this is probably enough. So this is looking pretty good. We have this nicely browned. Show you again. You know, so it's just been simmering, it's kind of there. And put that at the bottom. And put these two pieces of beautiful meat on top. Now this would be a meal, I'm not gonna eat all of this today. You know, we'll have a nice, beautiful Sunday meal later, Louie and I, and then we will save some for leftovers during the week because, you know, cook once, enjoy twice. Let me wash my hands because I've been... Alright, so I think you guys can see the meat over there. I will just grab this one more time to show you. And so basically, this is pretty much it, right? So now we got the meat, we got the crap at the bottom, and by crap I mean all the yummy stewy stuff. And I'm gonna add some fluid and then put the lid on. I'm gonna add this along, right? We know this is gonna be delicious. It's literally beef fat from a previous stew. And then I'm gonna put that in the oven probably for like a good 3 hours. At 325 before the last hour, so I'll set the timer for 2 hours. I'm going to cut these up and put them in so that that'll give the stew another note. So this will just be a typical meat stew, for lack of a better sexy way to call it. And while we're waiting for that kettle to boil, these are some cooking photos from when I was a little kid. That's me in the front and my little sister in the back. That is actually a real mixer. This one is not a real mixer, but clearly I was super into it at the time. I find that pretty funny actually, because I am not a baker. I mean, I will experiment with you guys and maybe we could figure some keto baking, you know, flourless cakes and that kind of stuff out. Definitely not my forte. So this is also us in the kitchen. This was in New York City, East 76th Street, I think we lived on. When my dad worked for the UN, he was there from 73 to 78. So we grew up in New York for a while and then went back to South Africa in 78-ish. In keeping with I like to make things, as few things as possible dirty. I'm just going to do a giant teaspoon there. I'm not even following the instructions. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'll put some water in here. So we're going to put that on here as well. Pouring that on, you can hear that it has now, our right, so let's see. You guys can see they're in the pot, I think. So the meat is not covered, so I'm just gonna add another cup of water just to, it doesn't have to be covered. It's a low enough heat, and this actually has, I think they call them, do they call them drip nipples? I don't know, maybe that's just what I call them, but what these will do inside a pot is it helps to collect the condensation, and then it goes back and it distributes it fairly equally and keeps the heat sort of equal within the pot. I'm sure it has some other technical term which does not involve the word nipples, but you know, this is you're free to pick a different cooking show, I suppose. All right, so this is ready now to go into the oven. The meat is not entirely covered, but I'm gonna try and kind of shove these two in there. I mean, there's a fair amount of liquid. It's almost to the top. Let me show you before I put the lid on. In South Africa, actually, we make a lot of stews, meat. We like meat and vegetables and stews. And so a traditional thing in South Africa on a Sunday would be some kind of stew. That would typically be because the family was going to church. So mom would put something in, or grandma would put something in the oven, something that could go low and slow so everyone could go to church and you could come back and the food would be ready for a 1 o'clock family meal. So this, I'm gonna let this, I'm gonna show you because then we're almost out of time. Oh wait, let me see if I can take this down. Then I don't have to lift the heavy pot so far. So do you see, oops, okay, so you see the meat's in there, the liquid's in there. I'm just gonna let this come up to at least a simmer before we put it in the oven. And then, as I said, in a little bit, we will add it to the oven. The oven is on 375 Fahrenheit, and the lid's going on. And then you just want that to basically go low and slow for a few hours. I'll check in on it in about a couple of hours. I will be adding the sweet potatoes, and I will report back and let you know how it went. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Freedomnomnom, rustic keto in the kitchen with Carla, and sometime there will be friends. We got to figure out all the details first. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you for joining me. If you're a mother, happy Mother's Day. If you're not a mother, happy Mother's Day anyway. Take care, and I will join you again next week. Thanks so much, guys. Peace out.